If you're bragging about a 6 or 7 figure real estate business and your bank account is still empty at the end of every quarter, this video is the conversation you've been avoiding. I'm Clay Hepler. I've done over 250 land deals. My team is on track to do more than $3 million in gross profit this year with about 20 people. And I've learned the most expensive lesson in this business the hard way. You can double your revenue, work twice as hard, and take home less money than the year before. That's not a success story, that's a literal trap. In the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna give you the exact 10-point operator playbook we use to protect our margin and pull profits out of this business first, before it gets eaten alive, and run a $3 million land machine on 40 to 50% net margins. Not 10, 15, 40 to 50. Most 7-figure real estate businesses are quietly running at 8%, and the owner is the poorest employee. Let's fix that. Here's what no one on Instagram is gonna tell you. The entire real estate industry has been brainwashed by one phrase: scale at all costs. Blast more mailers, send more marketing, hire more VAs, chase more deals, post the revenue number on Twitter, put the Lamborghinis in the thumbnail, and for years, I bought it too. I had a year where I nearly doubled our gross revenue. I worked harder than I'd ever worked. I hired aggressively, and when I sat down with my bookkeeper at the end of that year, our net profit had barely moved. I did 10 times the work for 20% more in my profit. Now that's not a business, that's a prison with better looking bars. So if you're at $300, $500, $1 million in profit right now, and you're wondering why your life feels worse than when you were doing your first few deals, you're not broken. The model you're running is broken. And there's 10 specific leaks that we're gonna plug literally right now. Now, point number 1 is the vanity metric trap. Revenue pays for ego. Profit pays for your life. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So here's 2 examples, right? So you have the Landman way, 40 deals per year, $37,000 average profit per deal, $1.4 million in annual gross profit, team's about 10 people, primarily global talent, but could be 6 US-based people or less. Your net is at $666,000. This is where most people live, doing lower average profit per deal, lower annual gross profit, higher, more bloated team with a net margin of $80,000. 100 deals per year. Doing more deals, doing more volume, but this person is building wealth. This person has a high-paying job that they literally cannot leave from. Now, which person would you rather be? Now, this is the reality for most land investors. Maybe you're at 15,000 average profit, and then your net maybe goes up to $150,000. I would rather have this business every day of the week, even though I'm just making slightly more money. I'm making so much more net profit. You want to scale your net profit, not your gross profit. This is the same industry. It's the same business motion. It's the same sellers. It's the same negotiation. But one business is a hamster wheel, and the other business is a true asset. Now, the guy on the left is probably working 10 times harder to make a fraction of the money. And he's thinking he's winning because the amount of deals he's doing sounds good on a podcast. Point number 2 is the bloated team, right? At networking events, it's cool to say I have 25 employees, but it's not. Headcount is very expensive. It's not a badge. And in this business, the order that you hire determines whether you build an asset or a bloated payroll machine. This guy might have even 15 employees, but they are a bloated payroll machine. So you can either have a bloated $3 million business or a lean $1.5 million business. We'll see in a second which one you'd prefer. So you have a $3 million gross profit and a 1.5, right? So one side, let's say, has 25 people. The other side has 6 people. You have 12 cold callers on the bloated team. You have 3 cold callers on the non-bloated team. You have 2 acquisition managers on the bloated team. You have 1 acquisition manager on the non-bloated team. You have 2 dispo on the bloated team. You have 1 on the non-bloated team. You have 6 ops on the bloated team. You have 1 on the non-bloated team. You have different leadership layers on the bloated team, and you have only owner-led on the non-bloated team. With all this, your net is at about 12%. And on the non-bloated team, your net is 45%. So at 12%, you're making $360,000, even though you're doing twice the amount of gross profit. But your net at 45% is $675,000. Even you're doing half, but you're making twice as much money. Headcount is a bill, not a badge, right? So I want you to pivot, because the reason this happens to most operators is because they hire in the wrong order. They feel overwhelmed emotionally, so they hire the support staff first. That's backwards. Here is the actual order of what to double down on if you want to scale profit and not headcount. So we've talked about the hiring ladder, which is admin, fulfillment, marketing, sales, and leadership, but there's also an output-based ladder. So number one is marketing output per dollar. So leads per $1,000 spent. This is your number one lever. Number two is sales conversion on those leads, your contract rate, your offer to accepted mass. Number three is profit per deal, which comes down to comping, negotiation, and data. You want to raise your average dollar per deal before you raise your deal count, right? So if you're at $5,000 per deal, doesn't make sense to add more people or more deals through the system. You want to get to $20,000 to $25,000, that's good. Dispo speed is your cash conversion cycle, right? So your days on market. If you can reduce this, because time kills your margin, your gross margin in your business, this is a great place to allocate your effort and time. Your operations and admin in 2026, you want to be very thoughtful about this. You want to systematize first, right? Because most operators hire poorly. They just hire based on emotion. They don't hire based on, I'm solving a specific problem. You want to hire based on output first and overhead last, so that you can stay lean. You can have a 6 to 8 person, very highly profitable land business in 2026 and beyond if you use these 5 outputs as a guiding post. So point number 3 is scale at all costs. The scale at all cost danger. When the market is hot, bloat hides. Deals close easy, everyone looks like a genius, but when the market softens, and it's softening right now, every inefficiency becomes a bill that you cannot pay. You cannot scale chaos, you only amplify it. In our business, I set a rule a year ago that we do not grow deal count unless net margin per deal holds or improves. Growing revenue by shrinking margin is the fastest way to go backwards at full speed. Point number 4 is the resource misallocation tax. You can run a great marketing channel and still waste 40% of the spend. If the wrong salesperson is fielding the leads, or your underwriting is slow, or your follow-up dies on day 3, work harder, pour in more marketing, misallocate the output, and you end up with 10x the activity and 1.2x the profit. The most profitable move in most businesses right now isn't a new channel, it's reallocating what you're also already spending to high dollar value tasks. So point number 5 is scale net profit, not gross. When we looked out at our year this year, and we said to ourselves, hey, we basically want to do the same gross profit that we did last year, but we want to increase our net profit significantly, right? So we want to be in the range of about 60 to 70% net profit, doing about 3.5 to 4 this year, which is not a huge change from what we did last year. And so when we backed in from our goals from the net profit that we're looking to do, we didn't think about hiring more. We thought about, hey, what are the levers that we could pull to increase net profit? Deal size, velocity are the 2 huge levers that we could pull. Of course, we could do more deals at good margins, but the best levers at our level are better deal size, right? And making sure that we're not adding unneeded headcount. In order to maintain margins, you focus on net profit, not gross profit. So in land, there are kind of 3 levels, right? So you have gross revenue, you have gross profit, and then you have net profit. I always got confused by this, so I hope this is helpful. Gross revenue is the total sales prices of your deals. So let's say you want to do $2.5 million next year. And a good margin ratio between gross revenue and gross profit in land is somewhere in the neighborhood of 25% to 35%. Okay? So gross revenue to gross profit. And the gross profit here is, let's say you're at $2.5 million. Okay? Now, this is fine, this is good. So basically this means that if I sell $10 million of land in a year, then I'll make around $2.5 million, right? So when people on podcasts say, I want to do $4 million of revenue, they're probably are only doing maybe $1 million, maybe, in gross profit, depending on the type of deals that they're doing. And then you have net profit, and this is what I care about, right? So I want to do this amount, but I want to do 45 to 60% net margins, right? So let's just say for easy math, $1.25 million, right? That is a good business, right? Because people say, hey, what's your gross profit, gross revenue? This has always confused me with land, so this is how we think about it. So I'm talking about for scaling net margins is what are the things that I can do to scale this? It's profit per deal. It is velocity, so how many deals we're doing. And then it's preserving the ratio between the gross revenue and gross profit, right? So if I have a, for example, 45% ratio, then I make a lot more money per deal that I'm doing, which means I have a lot more built-in margin on the top end. So if I'm focusing on, hey, the only thing I care about is my mortgage money, which is my net profit money, the thing that pays my mortgage, then I do things that I can do to increase this. And that's just a helpful way of, I always thought about when building out a business plan for what your goals are for gross and net profit, right? Because these are the numbers that actually make. This is the vacation number, this is the car number, this is the house number, not the gross revenue. I don't even listen to people when they talk about gross revenue because it does not matter. The only thing that really matters is the net profit. So that is something that you want to focus on. What I like to always say is net profit makes you rich, gross profit makes you tired. Quick pause, if this is resonating with you and haven't joined it yet, my free Landman community on School is where I break down this every single week. I actually have a call every single week that I get on, literally live call, and I break down these exact operator numbers, answer questions, underwrite deals. Links in the description down below, it's free. And you get some of the resources and templates that we already use. So point number 6 is the profit first equation. So traditional accounting teaches revenue minus expenses equal profit. This is a lie from a book that's very famous in the entrepreneurial community called Profit First, because whatever's left over at the end of the month, you'll find a way to spend. A new hire, a fancier CRM, a conference ticket, a marketing channel you don't actually need. Professionals flip the occasion. I want to show you exactly how to write this out so your team can see this, right? So the regular way people do it is revenue minus expenses equal profit. The better way to do it is revenue minus profit equals expenses. Once a profit comes in, you put that to a separate account the same day the money hits, right? So money expands to fill the space that you give it. If you leave profit sitting in an operating account, it will be absorbed into the bloat by Friday. I don't care how disciplined you think you are, you pull it out first into a separate bank, then you run the business on what's left. And you'll be shocked how much more disciplined every expense decision becomes in your business. And point number 7 is the cash flow waterfall. Now, once you've pulled the profit out first, the next question is, where does it actually go? Because profit isn't one pile, it has to flow. In our business, every dollar has a job before it arrives. Now, this is the exact waterfall I run across all of our accounts at Landman. There's 7 steps and there's 5 accounts. Have you ever seen one of those champagne glass pyramids? You pour the champagne at the top and it just kind of flows down, flows down, flows down. This is kind of how this works. So bucket number 1 is the OpEx reserves. So we like to put 3 months to 6 months. I like to actually have 6 months in there of operating expenses, which covers lumpy cash conversion cycles. Bucket number 2 is tax savings. This is 30% of your net profit in a separate account. and you make quarterly estimated payments to the IRS. Bucket number 3 is an emergency fund, right? You can do 3 to 6 months here in this emergency fund, which just covers any additional cash flow. In our land business, I like to be between 3 to 8 months in my emergency fund and OPEX fund at any one time. So a soft quarter doesn't force a bad deal. Bucket number 4 is sinking funds, which is known future expenses that are pre-funded. Marketing channel texts, annual team retreats, end of year bonuses, investment fund for new deals, education types of funds. This is where we put in education for coaching, and we do a lot of coaching and consulting. Bucket number 5 is distribution account, which is the owner draw, and this happens after 1, 2, 4 are full. And I like to write myself a check quarterly from this bucket to say, hey, I did a good job. Now, this is the ultimate sign of a healthy business. Distributable cash, not revenue, not P&L, not profit, but cash that you distribute to yourself as an owner. If you're not distributing cash to yourself, you're running a highly paid hamster wheel job. You're not actually building a machine. Right now, you might be looking at this and saying, and I was talking to the people in our inner circle community, the Land Deal Engine, and they were saying, well, some of them were saying, well, yeah, this is great, this is amazing, I'm gonna apply this right away. And other ones were like, dude, I can't do this right now. It's about installing the process to do this every single month, and so you can build the discipline of doing it, right? We were talking about kind of two failures, right? So the first failure that I see a lot of people doing, and we were talking about this in the call, was that people leave too much cash in their business, right? Which is bloat. The second failure is people pull too much cash out, which is a starve for growth capital. And the waterfall that we have right here solves both. So I set this up using Mercury bank account, these 5 separate accounts. Money flows through them in this order every single time cash hits. Now, you can do this bi-weekly or even monthly, but nothing gets distributed to me until the first 4 are full, and that's the discipline. That's why I can sleep at night, even in a soft market, because the buckets are already full. Now, point number 8 is the distributed cash reality check. Now, the real health metric is quarterly distributable cash. I learned this from Ryan Dice, which I kind of learned the cash flow waterfall from him too. He's an amazing entrepreneur. Totally check out his stuff, really, really impressive. If you're able to distribute more, your business is healthier, and if it's less, it's sicker, right? So I do the math every single quarter. If the number goes the wrong way, everything else gets paused until we find out why. Now, point number 9 is the first question filter. Before you add a new CRM, test a new marketing channel, hire another VA, spin up a new initiative, you run it through one question. Let me show you how we do this, because this filter has probably saved me more money than any deal that I have ever closed. So the question is, will this actually make us net profit in the next 90, 180 days? So you got a couple of branches. You have yes, you have no, you have maybe, or eventually. Now, under each branch, you want to write what you actually do with the idea. If it's yes, you can do it now. You can assign the owner 90-day scorecard, track the net profit impact. So maybe eventually is you want to kill it, right? It's the same as no. Maybe is the most expensive word in a business. It looks like it will work, and it won't, and it pulls resources out of your main business. If it's no, just kill it, right? Write it on the not doing list, keep that list, so you remind yourself. If you're anything like me, like a high ADD entrepreneur, you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna kill it, and then 30 days later, like, oh my gosh, actually this is a great idea, right? And on the same board, you wanna draw a little label and keep a list of things that you're not doing, right? The TikTok channel, the new CRM, the podcast sponsor, the 4th VA, the extra initiative, like putting mobile home on land packages, whatever, if it's not the right time for you. All these things are your not doing list, so you can stay disciplined as a high ADHD founder, like we all are, and you can focus on keeping the main thing the main thing. Because what you might say is, I'm working, I'm doing work, it's fake work. It's not actually productive, right? Because I've found that most founders don't have a focus problem, they have a filter problem. They say yes to 80% of the work that adds 0 to the bottom line, and they wonder why they're exhausted. Your not doing list should be longer than your to-do list by 5 to 10x. If it's not, you're losing the filter fight and you're probably not scaling the way that you want to. Now, point number 10 is to build an asset, not a job. The final shift for me was kind of the biggest one, right? The goal for me was never to be the hardest working operator in the group chat. The goal was to build an efficient, highly profitable asset that produces cash without my constant intervention. An asset that throws off money while I sleep, while I'm hunting, while I'm at my son's soccer game, while I'm in Italy like I'm going to this summer. A job eats your life and calls it hustle. I started this business with 30 grand in the bank, a wife who had just lost her job, and a house in Colorado that was bleeding cash. I sent 15,000 mailers before I closed a single deal. I know what desperation feels like, but I also know this. The operators who stay desperate aren't the ones without revenue. They're the ones with revenue and no margin, because they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They just can't grasp the profit, and they don't have the cash flow. They don't distribute cash every quarter. That's freedom. That's success. It's not I'm putting more gross revenue, gross profit like we were talking about earlier. It's I'm taking more money home quarter after quarter. If you're in this business right now and you're doing real volume, but your bank account doesn't really match what the Instagram version of your life looks like, you don't need more deals. You need this framework. Run these 10 points against your business this week, and you'll find at least 3 leaks in the first hour. If you want to stop guessing and actually see the exact numbers we track daily to protect these margins, click the link on the video screen. I'll walk you through the 6 KPI operator dashboard we use to run a $3 million land business. It's the same scorecard I use every single morning, and the ones that our highest level operators are using in our community. And one question for the comments. What was the point that resonated with you the most? I'd love to see them so I can maybe even do an exclusive video on it in the future to add more value to you. And if this video hit subscribe. I'm publishing the full operator playbook on this channel, how to hire, KPIs, lead gen physics, all of it. And we'll see you in the next one.